At 3 o'clock on Friday afternoon, the entire department fell into a state of slackness, with only a few clicks on the keyboard, and no one was working at a tight pace. I leaned on the office chair, supporting my chin with one hand, and flicked my fingertips through the Workplace Anonymous Help Forum, intending to fish out the last 2 hours and spend the weekend peacefully. A highlighted post on the top of the homepage, with a straightforward and curious title, instantly locked my eyes and caused my originally sloppy movements to suddenly stop. Ask for help. My female subordinate always shows kindness to me deliberately and uses endless tricks. Should I fire her directly? The poster is anonymous, and the homepage is clean and blank without any past updates. The identity marked is the director of the corporate department, which is completely consistent with the position of my media boss. I originally just thought it was an ordinary workplace complaint post and clicked in with a mentality of watching the excitement. But the more I read, the colder my spine became, the sliding speed of my fingertips became slower and slower, and finally I was completely frozen in front of the screen. The poster's writing is delicate and paranoid, and every word corresponds to me accurately without any deviation. He wrote that he had a female subordinate who came to work on time every day, never arrived a second early, was always the first to pack up and leave after get-off work, and never worked overtime without pay. She had a strong sense of work boundaries. She seemed cold and Buddhist, but in fact she was flexible and knew how to use discretion. He wrote that this female subordinate always wears clean and tidy clothes on a daily basis. She prefers plain work clothes for work. Her makeup is so light that it is almost invisible. She looks cute and docile, but in fact she is cold and cold at heart. She maintains a polite distance from everyone, but she always creates opportunities to be alone inadvertently with him. He wrote that during the meeting, everyone lowered their heads to take notes. Only she would quietly raise her eyes to look at each other, her eyes evasive and probing. When delivering documents, she would deliberately slow down, and her fingertips would occasionally touch accidentally. She was just right, not crossing the line, but seductive enough. He wrote that she never took the initiative to say ambiguous words, and she never made outright advances, but her small movements, deliberate closeness, and exclusive sense of proportion were all subtle advances, making it difficult for him to tell whether it was his overthinking or the other party's long-planned seduction. I sat at my desk, and my mind went blank. All the details, daily habits, dressing style, and attitude towards others described in the post are completely my own. In the entire department, I am the only one with such a working status, the only one who wears plain work clothes all year round, the only one who has always been polite and distant, with a strong sense of boundaries, never participates in workplace gossip, and never cooperates in working overtime without pay. As for the director who posted this post, apart from my immediate boss Lu Chunyan, there can be no other person. My pupils were shaken on the spot, and all that was left in my heart was outrageousness and absurdity. I didn't show any kindness to him at all. The reason why I am delayed in commuting to and from get-off work is because I strictly abide by the company's rules and regulations and refuse PUA and invalid intrusion in the workplace. I dress neatly and low-key because the company's work clothes are easy to match and do not need to worry about matching. I occasionally look at each other during meetings because I listen carefully and coordinate the work. I slow down when sending documents to check the content and avoid making mistakes. All my professional and self-disciplined behaviors were misinterpreted through his paranoid filter as deliberate seduction and deliberate overtures. The most outrageous thing is that there is no trace of disgust or boredom in his entire text. There is an undercurrent of concern between the lines, even with a kind of hidden entanglement and connivance. At the end, he even pretends to ask whether I should be fired. I stared at the text on the screen, feeling it was funny and outrageous, and I was instantly filled with physical embarrassment. Lu Chunyan, the aloof and abstinent person in the workplace and recognized by the entire internet, turned out to be a crazy fanatic in private. He turned my orderly behavior into a fancy pursuit of love. I resisted the urge to burst out laughing on the spot, silently saved the screenshot of the post, closed the forum, restrained all my pretentiousness, sat upright, and pretended to work seriously. At this moment, I completely understood Lu Chunyan's strange character. Externally, he is a top boss who is decisive, unkind, strict, and self-disciplined, and a cold boss that no one in the company dares to approach at will. Internally, he is an overbrained, self-absorbed, paranoid, and sensitive secret love brain with a powerful filter that can misinterpret the dedication of his subordinates into fancy flirtations. The extremely aloof external persona is paired with the extremely innocent and narcissistic internal contrast. It is absurd and funny, and perfectly hits all the characteristics of happy enemies. I didn't feel any panic or ambiguity at all. I just found this very interesting, and even vaguely wanted to see what outrageous moves this brain-shaping master could do next. I never get internally frustrated or obsess over other people's weird ideas. Since he likes to think about things, I just watch the show quietly and wait for him to continue his one-man show. When I went to work the next day on Monday, I still put on my most common work clothes, a simple white lapel shirt and a classic navy skirt. My hair was neatly pulled up and my makeup was clean and light. It was the most regular and ordinary commuting outfit since I joined the job. There was no deliberate dressing up or any fancy design. I clocked in on time by stepping on the work clock, sat down, turned on the computer, sorted the files, and connected with the work. The whole set of actions was smooth, no different from the past. I stayed safe and performed my duties diligently. At 10 o'clock in the morning, the department morning meeting ended and everyone returned to their workstations one after another. I took the time to open the anonymous forum again. At a glance, I saw that the text of Luchinian's post had just been updated on time, and the posting time was precisely 5 minutes after I sat down to work. The new updated content is straightforward and explosive, once again refreshing my cognitive bottom line. Update. This woman is very good at seducing people. Look how sexy she is wearing today. It is obviously the most formal work attire for commuting, but it looks clean and sexy when worn on her. She has a perfect sense of proportion. She deliberately dressed like this to go to work just to attract my attention. At the bottom of the post, there is a blurry picture of the back of the workstation. In the picture, the white shirt is neat and clean, the navy blue skirt is dignified and decent, the back is upright, and the outfit can't be more regular, and it can't be more ordinary. It is the most standard and conservative commuting wear template in the company. This set of clothes is purchased by the company and is worn by 8 out of 10 female employees. It does not have any skin-revealing design or any slimming and kitsch tailoring. It is dignified and formal from head to toe and has nothing to do with sexy. The netizen comment area below has been completely noisy. Thousands of comments are densely packed, and the screen refresh rate is astonishingly fast. Is the original poster crazy? Is this outfit sexy? This is a middle-aged and elderly work suit that my mom wears to work. Is there something wrong with my eyes? Pure white shirt plus navy blue skirt, so dignified to the extreme. Where's the allure? Help. What kind of top-secret crush filter is this? Even if you bring your own beauty supplement, can you still treat work clothes as sexy shirts? The original poster is absolutely in deep trouble. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder. The girl is clearly at work, but he is completely self-absorbed the entire time. Don't fire me. Don't fire me. This is a perfect secret crush, a complete set of self-guided strategies. I understand. It's not that the girl is deliberately showing off. It's that the poster himself is crazy about it and doesn't dare to admit it, so he insists on making excuses. All the netizens on the internet were confused and watched with laughter. Only me, after reading this update, I was instantly struck by thunder. I dug my toes out of the 3 rooms and 1 living room and experienced the most extreme public death in my life. I sat at my workstation with an expressionless face and laughed wildly inside. Lu Chinyan is really outrageous and really knows how to conquer himself. I wore the most ordinary work clothes to work and did my job conscientiously. Through the filter of his paranoid crush, it directly turned into a scheming act of deliberately posing and dressing carefully to seduce him. At this moment, I was completely sure that this aloof director not only had a crush on me, but was also extremely paranoid and egotistical about his crush. He was self-imagining, self-immersed, and self-strategized throughout the whole process, performing a one-man show that no one knew about and that everyone except me was confused about. And in this outrageous and funny secret love farce, there is a villain who has already secretly planned it and is full of viciousness, my colleague Su Monchi, who joined the company at the same time. Su Monchi joined me in the same batch, with the same qualifications and similar positions. She has been secretly competing with me since she joined the company. She is gentle, kind, considerate, and friendly on the surface, but secretly targets me, suppresses me, and slanders me. She is a typical two-faced villain. She witnessed with her own eyes the special attention Lu Chinyan paid to me. She saw with her own eyes that Lu Chinyan frequently and secretly paid attention to my every move. She mistakenly thought that I relied on ambiguous means to manipulate my boss and seize resources. She was jealous and crazy in her heart. From then on, she regarded me as a thorn in her side and deliberately tried to destroy my reputation, squeeze out my position, and take away everything I had. She is the complete and ultimate villain in this workplace novel. There is no room for whitewashing or any foreshadowing of hardships. She is purely jealous, selfish, insidious, and despicable, and benefits herself at the expense of others. All her evil deeds are due to her own greed and jealousy. The ending will never be taken lightly or forgiven. Long before Lu Chinyan started to pay attention to me silently and think about it secretly, Su Monchi had already started making plans secretly. She would secretly take away my work papers, imitate my layout style to submit plans, and seize the results of my work. She would pretend to praise me in front of my colleagues, and then spread rumors that I had gained power through ambiguity and was scheming. She would deliberately grab the conversation during meetings, steal my work ideas, and later turn around to smear me as incompetent and only pretending to be cute to gain attention. I have always been too lazy to care about it before, and just regarded it as an ordinary workplace infighting. I always maintained a Buddhist mentality, did my job steadily, and never participated in disputes. Until now, after reading Lu Chinyan's post, combined with all the recent strange things, I connected all the clues in an instant and completely saw Su Manchi's vicious plan. The reason why Lu Chinyan had the outrageous illusion that I deliberately showed my kindness to him and seduced him at every turn was that, in addition to his own brain-filling filters, most of the misdirection came from Su Manchi's secret instigation and malicious guidance. It was she who deliberately misinterpreted my behavior in front of Lu Chinyan countless times, describing my polite exchanges as deliberate chatting, describing my dedicated performance of duties as deliberate performance, and describing my borderline distance as hard to get. It was she who had been subtly instilling false information for a long time, distorting Lu Chinyan's cognition bit by bit, amplifying his secret love filter, and finally made him form this outrageous and paranoid misperception. Not only that, Su Manchi also secretly watched the forum posts, always paying attention to the progress of Lu Chinyan's secret love brainstorming, pretending to be kind and persuading me to work hard and not engage in workplace ambiguity, while secretly spreading rumors, leading the entire department to speculate that I had an improper relationship with the director, in an attempt to completely destroy my reputation in the workplace and force me to voluntarily resign. The moment I found out all the truth, the last trace of Buddhist tolerance in my heart completely disappeared. I never caused trouble, but I never let anyone bully me. Since the villain is determined to do evil, deliberately frame up a trap, and press forward step by step, then I will completely break my face, strike back accurately, and never show mercy, never compromise, and never reconcile. I didn't have the slightest bit of internal friction, and I didn't hesitate half-heartedly. I immediately put away all my mentality of watching the show and started calmly planning, waiting for the best opportunity to make a comeback. The review of the department's regular meeting on Monday morning was the first small reversal I had experienced. At the meeting, Su Manchi spoke before me as usual, holding a project review report that I should have led, and talked eloquently. She copied the core ideas and data models that I stayed up late on weekends to sort out. She spoke in a confident and public tone, pretending to complete the entire process independently. After she finished speaking, she deliberately turned to look at me, showing a gentle and harmless smile with a falsely modest tone. "Linwan, you don't seem to be in a good state during this period. I have sorted out this review for you. If you can't keep up with your work in the future, you can always ask me for help." In one sentence, I not only took the credit for my work, but also secretly smeared me for my lack of workability, slackness, and dereliction of duty. At the same time, I established a good persona in front of the leaders who was eager to help others, diligent, and reliable. Colleagues present all echoed the compliments, and even several middle-level leaders nodded in approval. Only Lu Chinyan, his eyes fell heavily on me, with a hint of unnoticeable inquiry in his eyes, as if he was observing my reaction. In the past, I was too lazy to break up in public. I would just endure it silently and reorganize the materials to prove myself. But today, I won't give in anymore. I raised my eyes, my expression was calm, there was no anger or grievance. My tone was calm, but my words were clear, and I spoke in front of everyone. No need to trouble you for your kind help. I have the original draft of this review report, the data traceability form, the record of 3 modifications over the weekend, and the cloud archive at 2 o'clock in the morning. I have it all here. I raised my hand and clicked on the projection screen, and my complete weekend work record instantly popped up on the screen. The timeline was clear and clear. All core ideas, data deductions, and plan details were all earlier than Su Manchi's submission time. The evidence is irrefutable and cannot be denied. The whole place fell silent for a moment, and everyone's eyes fell on Su Manchi. The compliments they had just heard disappeared instantly, and the atmosphere instantly became extremely awkward. The smile on Su Manchi's face froze instantly, her face turned visibly white, her eyes were panicked, and she could no longer maintain her gentle and kind persona. My tone was still calm, not aggressive at all, but I accurately exposed her pretense every sentence. Competition in the workplace can rely on strength. There is no need to steal results or pretend to help to gain favor. My workability does not need to be corroborated by outsiders, and I don't need to trouble you to take credit for me. In just a few words, Su Manchi's false mask was torn apart in public, allowing everyone to see her despicable competitive methods for the first time. Lu Chenyan's eyes suddenly sank. The probing look in his eyes turned into a clear coldness, and the gaze falling on Su Manchi completely lost its previous peace. I clearly saw that his fingertips were slightly tightened, his expression was cold, and suspicion had quietly arisen in his heart. At the end of the meeting, Su Manchi was humiliated and returned to her workstation in despair. She looked at me with eyes full of resentment and unwillingness. She completely hated me and began to accelerate her evil plan. She thought I was suddenly attacking and counterattacking temporarily, but she still didn't restrain herself. Instead, she got worse and wanted to destroy me as soon as possible and save her own face. That afternoon, the anonymous group within the company exploded, and rumors spread all over the place. Countless rumors to smear me were spread wantonly, and every word was extremely vicious. Linwen has been deliberately seducing Director Liu, relying on ambiguous means to gain attention and grab resources. Every day she is well-behaved, and well-behaved is just an act. She specializes in playing with her boss's psychology and playing hard to get. It is reported online that the director was wondering whether to fire her because she pestered her excessively and sexually harassed her boss in the workplace. Looks innocent, but in fact he is the most scheming, relying on improper relationships to seize the work results of his colleagues. All rumors were accurately based on the content of forum posts. After being maliciously processed, amplified, and disseminated by Su Manchi, the facts were completely distorted and shaped into a scheming, unscrupulous employee who flirted with others in the workplace and clung to his boss. In just one afternoon, most of the people in the company were misled. They pointed at me and talked about me privately. My reputation instantly fell to the bottom, and I fell into the ultimate workplace internet storm. My colleagues looked at me with strange, disdainful, and speculative eyes, and their normal work interactions became deliberately alienated. Everyone subconsciously avoided me for fear of being implicated by me and being stigmatized as clinging to their boss. Su Manchi hid behind the crowd, pretending to be kind and persuading everyone not to spread rumors. But in fact, she kept adding fuel and details, continued to promote the rumors, solidified my negative character, and enjoyed the pleasure of ruining my reputation. She was convinced that I couldn't argue. After all, the poster is Lu Chenyan, the department director with the highest say in the company. His anonymous post is the biggest evidence. As long as he does not publicly clarify, all rumors will be regarded as facts by default. She was convinced that I didn't dare to expose my boss or break my reputation, so I could only bear all the stigma silently. In the end, I couldn't bear the pressure and voluntarily resigned, completely withdrawing from the competition. This was a decisive move that she had carefully planned for a long time, step by step and sinister, just to completely eliminate me as a competitor. Discussions in the office came and went, tinny and harsh. Countless strange eyes were glued to me, and the ultimate publicity enveloped me. But I didn't feel a little bit panicked, a little bit aggrieved, or even a little bit internally distraught. I sat calmly at my workstation, working as usual, communicating as usual, and handling matters as usual. My expression was calm, my aura was calm, and I was not affected by any rumors. I know clearly that the silence now is not passive acceptance, but preparation for action. The crazier the villain jumps, the more tragic the fall will be. The more widely the rumor spreads, the more satisfying the truth will be. I calmly opened the background and started collecting evidence. I saved screenshots of all group chat rumors, recordings of colleagues' discussions, and chat records of Su Manchi secretly fanning the flames. I synchronize and back up the rumors in the cloud, locking all evidence to ensure that it cannot be tampered with or deleted. At the same time, I continue to track forum post dynamics, completely save all Lu Chenyan's brainstorming updates and netizen comments, and accurately lock all timelines. What I want is never verbal excuses or temporary whitewashing, but a one-time complete comeback and precise killing, so that the villain's guilt is conclusive, impossible to deny, and never able to turn around. Throughout the afternoon, Lu Chenyan looked at my workstation calmly countless times. His eyes were complicated and difficult to understand, including inquisitiveness, guilt, panic, and confusion. He watched the rumors ferment with his own eyes, watched me being criticized by the whole company, watched me fall into the ultimate social dilemma, and finally fully realized that his self-absorbed secret love request was maliciously used and turned into a weapon to frame me. He finally noticed something was wrong with Su Manchi belatedly, and realized that this rumor storm was no accident, but a carefully planned and malicious frame-up. When get-off work was approaching, everyone packed up and left in a hurry. I was the only one left in the office who continued to work peacefully, as if all the storms and criticisms from the outside world had nothing to do with me. Lu Chenyan hesitated, but finally walked to my desk. Director Bing Shan, who was tall and tall, showed a rare hint of embarrassment at this moment, and his voice was very low, with an imperceptible panic and apology. The posts on the internet are from me. He did not defend, cover up, or make excuses. He directly admitted his mistake and said with obvious guilt in his tone, "I never thought it would be like this. It was my overthinking and my lack of consideration that caused you to be hurt by rumors." This is a typical contrast between happy enemies. The top boss, who is usually aloof, taciturn, decisive, and never bowed his head, now put down all his dignity in front of me, confessed his naive imagination and outrageous mistakes, and took the initiative to take all responsibilities. I raised my eyes to look at him. My expression was calm and calm. No anger, no complaints, no grievances. My tone was calm and distant. I know. Lu Chenyan's body stiffened slightly. The guilt in his eyes became stronger, and his tone became more awkward. I will clarify and deal with all rumors so that you will not be misunderstood all the time. I shook my head lightly and said firmly and clearly, "You don't need to take action. I earn my innocence by myself. I break my situation by myself. I take care of those who harm me by myself. I never rely on my boss's preference to win sympathy, and I never rely on the strength of others to get out of trouble. I have full control over my own reputation in the workplace and my own life pattern." Lu Chenyan looked at my cold and firm look, neither humble nor arrogant. The guilt, heartbeat, and appreciation in his eyes were layered on top of each other, and he was completely immersed in the regret he had created with his own hands. He finally saw clearly that I had never deliberately shown kindness, never been scheming, and had never been flirtatious. From the beginning to the end, I just kept to myself, performed my duties conscientiously, was clear-headed and independent, and had clear boundaries. All the ambiguities, all the seductions, all the overtures are all based on his paranoid imagination and self-strategy. It was his narcissism and brainwashing that gave the villain an opportunity to take advantage of me and personally push me into a desperate situation where the whole network was watching and everyone was criticizing me. At this moment, he completely started the long process of chasing his wife in the crematorium, full of remorse, guilt, and regret, but he was no longer qualified to get even closer to her. I didn't look at him again, lowered my head, and continued to finish the work with a distant and cold tone. "Director Liu, during off hours, we don't talk about work or personal matters." A straightforward eviction order, without any emotion, and completely clear all boundaries. Lu Chenyan stood in silence for a few seconds and finally had no choice but to give in. With endless regret in his eyes, he whispered, "Come to me anytime if you need anything," and turned to leave the office. After he left, the office became completely quiet. I closed the work page and began to accurately plan the ultimate comeback. The climax and ultimate killing plot of the whole story officially began. I first sorted out all the complete evidence chain. The timeline of Sue Monchi's long-term stealing of my work results and comparison of original manuscripts, the complete record of her secretly spreading rumors and fanning the flames, the indirect evidence that she deliberately misled Lu Chenyan and distorted my words and deeds, and all the concrete evidence of her vicious competition in the workplace and malicious suppression of colleagues. All the evidence is clear, complete, interlocking, and irrefutable, without any loopholes or room for excuse. Immediately afterwards, I directly logged into my anonymous forum account and accurately found Lu Chenyan's post. At the top of thousands of comments, I posted a long comment with a full set of compressed evidence packages. There is no emotional venting, no swearing, no grievance in my comments. There is only a calm and straightforward list of facts. Every word is heartbreaking, and every sentence is true to the point. Unified reply to the poster and all netizens. 1. I have never deliberately shown favor to, deliberately seduced, or deliberately flirted with any boss. Commuting to and from get off work at certain times, dressing appropriately, performing duties conscientiously, and being courteous are the basic professional qualities of all working people, and they are not ambiguous means. 2. All the poster's illusions of being shown favor and being seduced are all due to personal excessive brainstorming and self-strategy, coupled with the long-term malicious misleading, deliberate misinterpretation, and secret instigation by a third party. 3. All the recent rumors that have spread throughout the company to discredit me are all maliciously fabricated and deliberately fermented. The complete set of identities, evidence, and timelines of the rumor makers, promoters, and instigators are attached. 4. Competition in the workplace is based on strength. Stealing achievements, malicious framing, cyberbullying of colleagues, and taking advantage of others' selfish motives to achieve one's own goals are the worst workplace evil behaviors. 5. I have never engaged in ambiguity, clinging to my boss, or being scheming, and I will never do so in the future. There is no need to guess for innocence. The evidence comes directly to the ground. The moment the long comment was posted, netizens all over the internet were in a frenzy, and the comment area was completely turned upside down. What was originally a hilarious comment poking fun at the poster for having a crush on Nobu instantly turned into anger among everyone, as everyone saw clearly the vicious plan behind this farce. Netizens read the evidence one by one, instantly sorted out all the logic, and completely understood the complete truth of the whole matter. It turns out that it was not the female subordinate who was scheming to flirt, but the director's own imagination, and it was his colleagues at the same time who maliciously framed and killed someone with a borrowed knife. It turns out that dignified and legal work attire is never deliberately sexy. It is the workplace attire of normal people. It turns out that all conspiracies, all rumors, and all social deaths all come from the villain's careful layout. The popularity of the forum soared instantly, and the post went directly to the top of the site's hot searches. Millions of netizens watched this extremely reversal of the workplace drama. Holy shit, the most outrageous workplace reversal of the year. I wrongly blamed the heroine. It turns out that someone has been maliciously instigating behind the scenes, using the director's secret crush to harm people. The heroine is too stable. He was killed by the entire network and misunderstood by all members. He collected evidence calmly throughout the entire process and killed it with a backhand. Sue Monchi is really vicious. Jealousy is at work and scrupulous and has no bottom line to harm others. I feel sorry for the heroine. An Onfin was teased at work and was framed by a coworker for cyberbullying. He was innocent and suffered the whole process. The director completely overturned. He single-handedly caused the heroine's entire network to die, and now it's too late to regret it. Public opinion has completely reversed, and the trend has completely reversed. I didn't stop, I never gave up halfway, and I never finished my counterattack. I simultaneously compiled the entire set of evidence into a book, packaged it, and sent it to the 4 core departments of the company, including the chairman, general manager, human resources department, and discipline inspection and supervision department. I also sent copies to the entire company management to report all of Sue Monchi's vicious workplace vicious competition, stealing work results, malicious rumors and frame-ups, inciting workplace cyber violence, and damaging the company's atmosphere. In the face of irrefutable evidence, there is no need to say anything. The company's senior management attached great importance to it and launched a special verification overnight that night. All evidence was verified one by one. The entire process was open and transparent, without any favoritism or appeasement. All of Sue Monchi's disguises, all of her masks, and all of her good persona were completely shattered in the face of irrefutable evidence. Her long-standing despicable evil deeds, insidious methods, and jealousy were thoroughly seen by the entire company's senior management. That night, Sue Monchi had a complete mental breakdown. After she learned about my real name report and the network-wide comeback, she was completely panicked and frantically sent me messages to apologize, beg for mercy, and defend herself. Lin Wan, I was wrong. I was jealous for a moment. I didn't mean to do it. I just wanted to do a good job too much. I didn't want to destroy you. Can you forgive me this time? We are colleagues at the same time. There is no need to kill everyone. I will never target you again. I am willing to apologize and compensate you. Throughout the article, I humbly begged for mercy, trying to win sympathy through misfortune, trying to make me relent, give in, reconcile, and withdraw the lawsuit. But I was indifferent throughout the entire process, never replying, not wavering, and not being soft-hearted in the slightest. I clearly remember that when she spread rumors, framed me, ruined my reputation, caused me to die on the whole network, and was criticized by the whole company, she did not show any mercy, and no bottom line. Be unscrupulous when you do evil, and beg for forgiveness when you fail. Nothing in the world is so cheap. The villain will never whitewash, tolerate, or take lightly. I will never reconcile, never forgive, or be soft-hearted. I directly blocked all contact information of Sue Monchi, completely cut off all channels for her to ask for mercy, and did not give her any chance to make a comeback. The next day, the company's official handling results were officially announced, and red-headed documents were circulated to the entire company. The punishment results were extremely severe and would not be tolerated. After verification, employee Sue Monchi has long-term committed multiple serious disciplinary violations, such as stealing the work results of colleagues, maliciously fabricating false statements, inciting workplace confrontation, maliciously framing colleagues, and destroying team spirit. The circumstances are egregious, the impact is significant, and it violates the company's professional bottom line and core principles. The final punishment is now given: immediate dismissal and never hiring. All performance bonuses and year-end bonuses will be deducted. She will be entered into an industry blacklist, simultaneously pushed to the industry-wide human resources system, archived for life, and all peer companies can query it, and all employment opportunities in her entire career track will be completely cut off. One announcement completely finalized the villain's final ending. Su Manchi was completely devastated. Not only was she expelled from her current company, but she was also blacklisted and banned from the entire industry. Her career prospects were completely ruined, and she would never be able to work in related industries. She completely paid a devastating price for her viciousness and jealousy. The gentle persona, diligent reputation, and career prospects that she worked so hard for all collapsed and completely fell to zero. She ended up being despised by everyone and had no place to stand. She deserved it and was very happy. After the results were announced, the whole company was in an uproar. All colleagues who had followed the trend and misunderstood me were completely sober. They apologized silently and stopped criticizing me. No one dared to question me anymore. My reputation in the workplace has completely turned around from being a clinging and bad employee to being a calm, transparent, capable, and decisive workplace leader. And the instigator, Lu Qinyan, was completely trapped in the ultimate crematorium of chasing his wife, starting the rest of his life with unresolved regret and suffering. The company's top management interviewed him privately. Although no public punishment was given, they severely criticized him for his serious problems of not distinguishing between public and private matters, his private speculation affecting the workplace atmosphere, and his poor management and control. He was revoked from all performance evaluation qualifications for the month and gave him a key warning education. As a director, due to his personal paranoia, secret love, and excessive thinking, he caused workplace farce across the internet and public opinion storm within the company and almost ruined the career of an innocent employee. This is the biggest stain on his career that can never be erased. From then on, Lu Qinyan completely lost all his coldness and strength and became extremely humble, accommodating, and guilty towards me. He has changed all the brain-filling filters and will no longer misinterpret my words and deeds and will no longer be self-absorbed or self-guided. He began to accommodate me in everything, give me priority in everything, and tolerate me in everything. He took the initiative to allocate core project resources, evaluation quotas, and promotion opportunities to me. He silently cleared all career obstacles for me and silently made up for his own mistakes. He is cautious, humble, and cautious every day, not daring to talk to me casually, not daring to approach me arbitrarily, and not daring to cross the line in the slightest. He would help me avoid all the tedious work in advance, help me block all workplace disputes, and help me handle all the trivial matters. He would silently contribute and make up for it, just asking me to calm down and make up for my mistakes a little bit. But from beginning to end, my heart was like a rock, indifferent, and I would never look back. I calmly accept all resource inclines, all preferential treatment in the workplace, and all promotion opportunities. I will steadily receive all bonuses based on my strength, steadily get promoted and raise salary, steadily deepen my career, and steadily reach the top of the workplace. I accept his apology, but I will never accept him as a person, never forgive his mistakes, and will never have any emotional entanglement or any possibility of reconciliation with him. It was his paranoia and self-love that personally pushed me into a desperate situation where the whole network was dead, misunderstood by everyone, and cyberbullied in the workplace. I suffered unreasonable disasters, extreme grievances, and groundless criticism. Belated guilt, late compensation, and humble flattery are meaningless and worthless to me. I clearly demarcate all boundaries, keep public and private affairs separate at work, communicate efficiently, and never procrastinate. Privately, I have zero communication, zero involvement, and zero fetters, and I am indifferent, distant, and never soft-hearted. No matter how lowly Lu Qinyan begged for peace, how affectionately he made amends, and how silently he gave, I always remained sober and independent, never accepting, responding, being moved, or looking back. He was completely trapped in the ultimate crematorium of never getting what he wanted, regretting for the rest of his life, and repenting every day. He sits in a high position and holds power, but he can never make up for the harm he has done to me, and he can never get any forgiveness from me. He can always stand there, watching me climb to the top step by step, becoming more and more dazzling, but he is no longer qualified to get any closer. He destroyed his only heartbeat with his own hands and pushed away the most cherished person. The rest of his life was long, regretting every day and every night, with no solution and no end. And I completely get rid of all workplace disputes, all villain schemes, all unfounded scandals, and tear apart all false labels and all other people's assumptions. I don't rely on ambiguity, clinging, or sympathy. I rely solely on my own strength to calmly turn the tables, kill the villain, and stand firm. I completely shed all my Buddhist, docile outer shell and became a workplace queen who is sober, independent, decisive, top-notch in strength, and with a bright future. The outrageous social death that the entire internet once watched became the best springboard for my counterattack in life. The malicious criticism I once endured for no reason became the perfect pavement for me to reach the top of the workplace.